Hashmi and I am your tutor. Welcome to our intermediate part 1 math series. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the complex number. So for this series, in first lecture I have already explained the number system. So categories of the number system, we have two numbers basically, number system. So the main categories from the number system are the real numbers and the complex numbers. In previous exercise, in previous 4 lessons, we have discussed about the real number and their properties. Okay, so if you are familiar with the real number, it's easy to understand the complex numbers also, because we have to use the properties of the real number in the complex numbers also. You are familiar with the previous topics. This lesson is for you and you have to continue with this lesson. But if not, then I strongly recommend you to go back and watch the last videos. So let's get started with today's lesson, which is about the complex number. So mainly complex numbers are represented by the element z. Okay? And the general expression for the complex number is a plus iota times b. Now what is a and b? As I have already told you, like we have to know about the real number. So these a and b are the numbers from the real numbers. Okay. Now the only part of iota which is unknown to you, this makes this whole number as a complex number. And where it comes iota, as we have square root. Okay, square root of any negative number will give you iota. So we have value of iota, square root of negative 1. So the general expression for the complex number is a plus iota b, and here a represents the real part. We can split this. A is real part of the complex number, and iota as this number, iota b. Okay. So whenever the part is multiplied with iota, this part is known as the complex part of the complex number. So I am going to write iota b is the complex part for the complex number, okay, which will make the number as a complex number. So now let's move for the very important topic from the complex number is a conjugate of a complex number. How you will create a conjugate, okay? Because if you are going to prove any properties like you have already proved with the real numbers, addition. In addition, you have proved Polygon property, associative property, additive identity, additive inverse, and commutative property. So we are going to prove all those properties under the complex number. So you must know about the conjugate. Okay. So let's start with the conjugate of a complex number. So for conjugate complex number, if you are going to create a conjugate of a complex number, here is a sign for conjugate. You have to take the bar on the complex number. Okay. So when you are going to make a bar, you have to take on both sides. Okay. So I am going to take bar on both sides. This will change the sign of only the complex part. Okay. Or you can say the sign of only the term which have iota. So what will happen over here? It will change only the sign of the complex part of the complex number. Okay. So this one is called the conjugate of a z or conjugate of a complex number. It only changes the imaginary part. You can say complex part as an imaginary part also. Okay. So the one is real part and the second one is imaginary part. And you can say also z and z bar are conjugate to each other. So let's take one example. If we have a complex number z equals to 5 plus 4 iota. Now, if we are going to take the conjugate for this complex number, what will happen over here? Yes, you have to take bar on both sides. It will change only the imaginary part. Okay, 5 is the real part, so I am going to take as it is, and here 4 iota with plus sign, so I am going to write with negative sign of 4 iota. Now the conjugate of the complex number z plus z equal to 5 plus 4 iota is 5 minus 4 iota, right? And now in this pattern you have to prove any conjugate in your exercise. Now after conjugate of a complex number, now I am going to explain how the powers of iota works. Okay, so you have a question in your exercise. It's quite easy for you to solve them. As I have already told you, like iota is equal to square root of minus 1. So now we are going to work on the power of the iota. So if I am going to make a square on both sides, what will happen over here? Yes, square root of negative 1 and then square root. And it will cancel to each other because square root and square are reciprocal to each other. So we have negative 1. So we can say iota square equal to negative 1, right? Okay. What will happen if I am going to take again 1 square more? So square on both sides, it will become iota times square on square. It will give you iota power 4 equal to 1, right? So 1, have 1 result. Now what will happen if I am going to take any odd power of iota? What will happen over here? For example, I am taking iota square minus 1. So I am going to take multiply on both sides iota. What will happen over here? So it will become iota cube. It will become minus iota. Now we have a result. So whenever we have an odd power, it comes with iota. Now let's take square root of any odd power. What will happen? If I'm going to take square or multiply with. So now here we have iota. When bases are same, power should be added. Okay, so 2 plus 3 is 5, right? Now here minus, we are going to multiply with minus, and iota square is, now you can use the previous result. Okay, iota cube is 4. You have to simplify the power of iota. So if I am going to write the value of minus iota cube is minus times iota. What will happen over here? Minus times will give you the positive. So we have iota power 5 is equal to iota, and so on. Whatever you have to find out the power of iota, just use these results, and so on. You have an exercise. So let's do one question from your exercise. Any random question. Okay. Here we have a question, and we have to write this number as in terms of iota. So what we have to do, first we have to break this fraction with numerator and denominator. So I'm going to write square root of 1 divided by square root of minus 4. Okay. So square root of 1 is what? 1. Right. Now you can split this number with square root of negative 1 multiplied with square root of 4. Right. I have split this number. We can write like this, minus 1 times 4. I have split this number with negative 1 square root multiplied with 4. Okay, here. Now what will happen? 1 divided by, as we know that, what we know? Square root of iota is equal to square root of negative 1 is equal to iota. So I am going to write over here. So I am going to write square root of negative 1 as iota over here. And square root of 4 is what? Square root of 4 is 2. Now, here comes the property of conjugate. Now you have to use the property of conjugate. What is the property? You have to take the reciprocal. Okay. So, whenever you are going to take reciprocal of any complex number, you have to use. So, I have to multiply and divide with the conjugate of this number. What is 1 divided by 2 iota multiplied with negative of 2 iota divided by negative 1. Now you have to simplify. Multiplication. Negative of 2 iota. Denominator, what will happen? 2 iota times minus 2 iota. Okay, so we have 2 iota in numerator, and here 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, and negative comes out. Now iota times iota is iota square. And you know the value of iota square is. Recall your memory? Yes. Okay, so 2 iota is minus 4 and iota square is negative 1. So we have 2 iota divided by minus 4. Okay? So if we are going to simplify this term, it will become 1 by 2 times iota. So we have split this number 1 divided by negative 4 into 1 by 2 times of iota. So this is the answer. Okay, now you have to do your exercise number 1.2, and if you have any ambiguity, you can feel free to ask me in comment box. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.